Okay, so buckle up, everybody. Because today, we are diving headfirst into honestly, one of the wildest situations I've seen in a long time. We're talking political power, we're talking potential crimes, and we're talking, oh yeah, alleged witness tampering.
Yeah, you say things are heating up.
Why, no kidding.
Mhm.
And at the center of it all, none other than Israel's prime minister, Benjamin Netanyahu, and, well, his wife, Sarah.
The Netanyahus, a name that's practically synonymous with political drama, and this is a whole new chapter.
Exactly. But before we get into, well, the latest drama, we got to make sure everyone's on the same page.
Right.
Just a quick recap for anyone who might miss the headlines.
Right. So we're talking about a saga that's been going on for, gosh, is it 4 years now? 4 years of Benjamin Netanyahu on trial, facing some pretty serious charges, bribery, fraud, the whole nine
Oh,
yards.
yeah, and not just any fraud. Like, we're talking about accepting crazy expensive gifts from billionaires, the kind of stuff that makes your jaw drop.
Oh, yeah, absolutely. And of course, there are the accusations about him pulling strings, granting favors to this big telecom company, all in exchange for some favorable press coverage.
Classic quid pro quo, right?
Well, allegedly. But that's what the whole trial is about, right? Sorting through all that.
Totally. And through it all, Netanyahu's been pretty consistent, right? He's denied everything, calling the whole thing a witch hunt, politically motivated, all that.
Oh, absolutely. That's been his line from the start. But recently, things have gotten a little more, shall we say, complicated.
Oh, yeah, and that's where Sara Netanyahu comes in. Now, we're talking about some serious accusations all stemming from these leaked text messages. Leaked texts. I mean, come on, that's like spy movie stuff.
Yeah, it definitely adds to the drama, doesn't it? So these messages, which were published by an Israeli TV channel, appear to show Sara Netanyahu instructing protesters to, and this is where it gets really wild, to harass a key witness in her husband's trial.
Okay, hold on. Let's unpack that for a second. I mean, instructing protesters to harass a witness. We're talking potential witness tampering,
Yeah.
potentially even obstruction of justice, right?
Absolutely. Obstruction of justice. It's a huge deal. I mean, think about it. The entire legal system is built on the idea of fairness. Everyone deserves a fair trial. But if witnesses can be intimidated, pressured, or worse, silenced, the whole system falls apart.
Oh, absolutely. And I mean, history's full of examples, right? Like Watergate, remember that whole
Yeah.
mess? A lot of the damage came from like the cover-up, the attempts to silence witnesses. It totally eroded public trust.
Right. It's not just about the crime itself. It's about the integrity of the system, the idea that justice will prevail. And these allegations against Sara Netanyahu, well, they raise some serious questions.
Huge questions. And I think this case goes beyond just the Netanyahus, right?
Yeah.
It speaks to this broader issue of power and accountability. I mean, if those in power can manipulate the legal system, what kind of message does that send?
It's a slippery slope, for sure. It undermines the rule of law. It says that some people are above the law, that wealth or influence can buy you a different kind of justice.
Exactly. And that's a scary thought. So we've got leaked text messages as evidence, accusations of witness tampering, a high-profile trial that seems like it'll never end. Where does this all go from here? What happens if these allegations against Sara Netanyahu are proven true?
Well, first off, she could be facing some very serious legal consequences. Obstruction of justice is not something any court takes lightly, but it could also have a ripple effect on Benjamin Netanyahu's own trial.
Hurt his defense, you mean?
Exactly. If it comes out that his wife was actively trying to, let's say, interfere with the judicial process, well, it casts a shadow over his whole defense strategy. It makes you wonder if there was a more coordinated effort to undermine the trial.
Wow. So even if he is ultimately found innocent of the original charges, this whole thing with his wife could still have a major impact. I mean, on his legacy, his political career, public perception, the whole nine yards.
Absolutely. It all ties together, doesn't it? And that brings up a really interesting question. Could these allegations against Sara Netanyahu actually be more damaging to Benjamin Netanyahu's defense than the original charges against him? What do you think?
That's a good question, and it's something I think we all need to think about. Look, we've covered a lot today, from the initial charges against Benjamin Netanyahu to these new, explosive allegations against his wife. It's a wild case, and it shows just how complicated things can get when personal actions intersect with political power and the legal system. And, well, that's our deep dive for today. Thanks for joining us. We'll be back soon with more.